Turkey, cranberries, and football are mainstays on Thanksgiving, but one tradition beginning this year is adding Grand Touring racing to the table. With 2 races left in 2024, it'll be feast or famine for 42 drivers today in the eastern mountains of the Keystone State. Hello out there, we're on the air, and it's race day today in Schuylkill County. It's a chilly Thursday afternoon in Tremont, Pennsylvania, as we welcome you to the Autumn Hill Raceway for stop number 11 of the 2024 Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship, the SPAM Grand Prix of Schuylkill. And a pleasant good morning and happy Thanksgiving to everyone tuning into today's penultimate race of the 2024 season, with live coverage being provided on the North American Sim Racing Network. And from high in the sky in the press box, my name is Trey Wright for the NASRA. 2 races remain in the inaugural season of the FMGTC as the drivers enter eastern Pennsylvania on this Thanksgiving morning, looking for not only turkey and stuffing, but a good run to set themselves up for the championship race in 1 month over in Riverside. After a great race at the Bridgehampton Race Circuit in October that saw Roberto Crown Jr. and Blake Bavillier take the top spots for GTLM and GT Daytona, the point standings have swung in either direction for both classes. First, taking a look at the points as they run for GT Le Mans, and Jaden Russell, with his second place run at Bridgehampton, increases his points lead to 55 over Zachary Fitzwater. Eric Monaco and Sebastian Palmer round out the quartet of drivers that have a realistic shot of winning the championship. Then we have drivers marked in yellow: Riley Sampson, Blaze Zebratar, Owen Miles, Aguirre Sato, and Caleb Rose. Those drivers are a little bit on the outside looking in. Points-wise, as they're about 4 races worth of points behind Jaden Russell, just a little bit for Riley Sampson and Blaze Zebratar, but for Owen Miles, Aguirre Sato, and Caleb Rose, they need to have really good runs this afternoon if they want a mathematical chance of winning the championship at Riverside. And everybody from 10th on down, marked in red, they have been mathematically eliminated from championship contention. Everybody from Reggie Fogelman all the way on down to Logan Williams will not be the inaugural champion for GT Le Mans in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. So 4 drivers with a realistic shot coming into today, 9 drivers with a mathematical chance over the next 2 races. It's going to be interesting for these LM guys how they race this race. And for GT Daytona, it is the Wild West over in the slower GTD class. Dylan Matthews, despite having a halfway decent run at Bridgehampton, got caught up in a couple of incidents. She has seen her points lead plummet all the way down to 30 points over John Stewart, and everybody in GT Daytona finishing around one another, which means that Michael Brown, Blake Bavillier, 2 drivers that finished all the way on the podium for GTD at Bridgehampton, they are within striking distance of the top 2. Brown is 34 back. Blake Bavillier, after picking up his second win of the season on Long Island, is 45 points behind Dylan Matthews. Colin Bayer and Igor Barreto still within distance of that 26 car, both of them having issues on Long Island. Bayer back by 60, Barreto falling all the way down to 65 points behind. Same thing with Dustin Davis. He's still relatively in the hunt in the 72, and Connor Monaco, despite having 2 bottom 5 finishes over the last 2 races, is still mathematically in the hunt, 89 points behind Dylan Matthews. And everybody from 8th on down has been mathematically eliminated. Daniel Bouchard all the way down to Ryan Durrani will not be fighting for this championship, but you do see that nobody is marked in yellow. All these drivers have a realistic shot of winning the championship going into Riverside, but they need to have good runs today, and that especially includes that 26 machine of Dylan Matthews. 2 straight races with issues. She needs to run a clean race here today in GT Daytona, and we'll go over the starting lineup in just a moment. But most of these 8 drivers starting in the top 10 for GT Daytona, which is going to make the start of this race and all 90 laps of today's contest at Autumn Hill must watch YouTube. But either way, it is going to be one whale of a race here on a clear and chilly Thanksgiving morning in eastern Pennsylvania. And again, today and Riverside are all that remain in the 2024 slate. Every single driver on the grid, not only needing but also wanting to have great runs, and those high in the point standings looking for gravy on the track and end up in victory lane in today's race. But that is then, and this is right now, and it's once again that time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get on trackside to get the most famous words in motorsports to kick things kicked off in the Spam Grand Prix of Schuylkill.
Drivers, start your engines!
The engines roar to life on the front stretch at Autumn Hill, and we are just moments away from dropping the green flag for today's race. Mike Vincent Jr. and Bradley Ream make up row number 1 for GT Le Mans. Vincent Jr. on pole in the number 78 Corvette. Ream in his second straight front row start in his number 40 Boston Red Sox Corvette. The vet sweeping the front row once again, looking for another win here in 2024. And back in here for GT Daytona. They're led to green by that man right there. Nathan Buchanan looks for redemption after dominating the race at Bridgehampton. He sits on the pole in his number 99 Menards Mustang. Michael Brown looks to get his second win of the season, starting next to Buchanan in the number 25 CarQuest Auto Parts Viper. As the field goes through the S's. Taking a look at the track itself, it's a 1.97 mile, 11 turn course at Autumn Hill. Pretty much your standard Grand Prix track with sweeping corners and long straights. But like we just saw, a tricky pair of S's through turns 5 and 6 will be the trouble spot for these drivers all afternoon long. And it'll be 90 laps around Autumn Hill this morning, making up today's distance. The pit window for both classes is about 32 to 34 laps, so 2 crucial pit stops are on the docket for today's contest. Pace car makes its way down the pit lane through turns 10 and 11. Vincent Jr. and Ream will lead this 42-car field to the green flag, and there it is, waving in the autumn air. Happy Thanksgiving from eastern Pennsylvania. 2 races remain in the 2024 season. Vincent Jr. will lead the field into turn 2, and he goes wide through the initial corner. Logan Williams will scoot to the lead. Contact between the 72, the 78, and the 12. Gavineau into the wall. Third race in a row, Michelle Gavineau has had an issue on the opening lap as everybody gets through the S's for the initial time today, and Logan Williams out front in the 6 machine. He will come around and likely lead lap number 1. Vincent Jr. and Bradley Ream didn't get good starts. Ream will dart to the inside of the 78 as off of corner number 1. Williams will lead lap number 1 of 90, and problems for the 84 of Dano Georgi. Looks like he went around going through turn number 9. You'll see the replay on your screen as all the Daytona cars have gotten through the opening lap of chaos. Owen Miles falling back in the 59 as for the lead in GT Daytona. Michael Brown goes, and that's part of the reason, is Nathan Buchanan off track, and he is around in the 99. Buchanan went wide through 1 and the pole sitter out of this race on lap number 2. Doesn't mean much in the point situation for Buchanan, but a tough break nonetheless, and shuffled back in that 26 machine was Dylan Matthews. Started this race in 8th. She is all the way back to about 19th in the opening lap chaos, and that is really good for the man leading GT Daytona right now, as Michael Brown able to get around this 56 machine of Daniel Voiles, picking off these Le Mans cars one at a time. Dustin Davis creeping up in the 72. Remember, both Davis and Brown within striking distance of the 26, and with Dylan Matthews being shuffled out and away in the opening stages of this race. She is likely not going to be the points leader after this all said and done, but she's going to get back going, making it 3 wide, going through turn 7. Back underneath the Michelin bridge, the field goes, and back up to the front. For the race lead, Mike Vincent Jr. back out front as Logan Williams swarmed by everybody in front of him. And like we say, it's not a race on the North American Sim Racing Network without us missing a pass for the race lead as a pole sitter. Back out front. See the tire marks of that machine as Skylar Taylor goes wide through the corner. Gavineau and Palmer nearly coming together as Taylor is able to get around the 25 of Michael Brown, as Brown will fall back into the clutches of Dustin Davis. Both of these drivers looking for their second wins of the season. Blake Bavillier is up to third as he goes partially onto the grass in the 11. Same thing for John Stewart in the 98 as he's right on the back bumper of the 22 machine. Going a little wide through turn 11 is Tatiana Nagora, and Stewart will pick up another position in the 98. These GTLM cars all on top of one another. Going wide to the corner was Vincent Jr. 3 wide back in here. Nathan Stapleton, and around goes the 40, the 6, and the 06. And Zachary Fitzwater gets tagged in it as well, and so does Jaden Russell into the 5 of Caleb Rose. Rose on his side. Massive, massive points implications in GT Le Mans as Jaden Russell taken out, and the Daytona cars having to make evasive maneuvers. Oh my goodness. Zachary Fitzwater caught up in Jaden Russell. Somebody going wide. That was the 16 and the 6 as Logan Williams' bad luck this season will continue into this race, and caught up in that was the 26. Both points leaders being caught up in an accident on lap number 6. We take a look at it once again. 3 wide through the S's was never going to work. And going back up and lapaging a couple of the other drivers in GT Le Mans, one of those being the points leader Jaden Russell and Zachary Fitzwater. Now Igor Barreto goes wide through the corner. Dylan Matthews losing control. She's just barely able to get it back and going. Well, this is an interesting first 6 laps of action here today. This is going to play right into the wheelhouse of Eric Monaco and Sebastian Palmer. We'll see if the 8 car will come onto the pit lane. He does not. Russell marred deep in this field for GT Le Mans. Caleb Rose, Logan Williams, and Zachary Fitzwater will retire. Fitzy was 55 points behind Russell, so it's not worst case scenario for Jaden, but he is seeing both the 2 and the 20 up at the front of the field for GT Le Mans, and he is marred back with these GT Daytona cars. And for Reggie Fogelman, who after the first 5 races of this season we touted as a championship favorite, once again going to finish towards the bottom of the barrel. Same thing for Bradley Ream. Both these drivers mathematically eliminated coming into this race, just looking for good runs. It's not going to come here today. Russell just hoping that these Le Mans drivers have more issues as Michelle Gavineau is down the pit lane. Roberto Crown Jr. with some rear end damage in the 33. Doesn't look like it's going to be 2 wins in a row for the 33 machine. A lot of these drivers going really wide through the corners. Somebody going around in through the S's. It's Blake Bavillier and the 78 and up at the front. The GT Le Mans leaders having more issues. Colin Bear right in the back end of the 78. As a big crash in the S's once again. Aguirre Sato, Micah Knapp, and Connor Monaco go around. It is chaos in the opening 10 laps of today's race. Ryan Durrani Arca breaks in. Mike Vincent Jr. able to get around the 49. Holy Toledo, what is going on? We saw So many different drivers. Owen Miles is out. Riley Sampson is out. Daniel Voiles is down. And now, well, Jaden Russell's low hopes might not be as bad after all, as he's going to pick up about 6 positions. And like we said, these S's all afternoon long are going to be the trouble spot. And it has claimed pretty much half of the GT Le Mans field, as we see the tire tracks back in here between 7 and 8. Blaise Zebratar with an issue in the 3, and a lot of drivers on pit lane, most of them being GTLM cars. Michelle Gavinou will lose a lap. But Blake Bavillier, one of the drivers looking for a good day in GT Daytona, he's marred in the back in the 11. He was the first car we saw go around, and then we saw all hell broke loose in GT Le Mans in front of them. And Nathan Ormond, your Papyrus winner, out front in the 4. And I'm only counting 7 cars remaining in GT Le Mans that are competitive, that have not been caught up in anything. I've never seen this for GT Le Mans in my life. And we said at the top of the show that this is a standard Grand Touring track. Nothing like we've seen. There's no idiot points of the course like we see at Bridgehampton, like we see at Daytona, like we see at Thornton. You know, I could point out a dumb part of the track on every single course that we go to this season. And we knew that these S's were going to be the trouble spot. We didn't know that this was going to be this disastrous for GT Le Mans. As right now, Daniel Bouchard will go off course in the 8 machine. He'll gather it back up and going. Right now, it was an overheating issue for Mike Vincent Jr. I believe that's why he initially went down. But looking at all these cars retired out of this race, I'm counting about maybe 33 cars left on track. 29 of them are on the lead lap, and we are only 12 laps into a 90-lap contest. So this is going to be an endurance race in the literal definition. As Nathan Stapleton goes wide off the corner, he's able to gather it back and going. Yosis Medea, that's all I've got to say in this race. Stapleton will remain in 5th for the time being, as the top 3 in GT Le Mans will now be on top of one another. Michael Brown, John Stewart, Dustin Davis, your top 3 in GT Daytona. That is worst case scenario for the 26 of Dylan Matthews, who is really, really slow on the track. I believe she was caught up in another accident, and she is about to be lapped by these GT Le Mans drivers, and it has all gone downhill over these last 3 races for the 26. I've never seen anything like this in any sort of Grand Touring racing, not in the 2.4, because this is something you would possibly see in the 2.4 hours of Daytona. All this carnage in GT Le Mans, particularly in GT Le Mans, as Eric Monaco looks to the inside of Nathan Ormond, and the top 3 pulling heavily away from Sebastian Palmer. Monaco with a lot to lose here if he goes to the garage area, but a lot to gain if he plays this race wisely. Going into the S's for the 14th time today, right on the heels of this 4 machine, as they're going to catch up to this 26. It is all gone wrong for Dylan Matthews. And right now, she might be on the outside looking in for GT Daytona. As for Michael Brown was 34 points behind that 26 machine. He is going to destroy that. Same thing for John Stewart, who is 30 points behind. Blake Bavillier and Colin Bear were both caught up in accident. Let's go ahead and see who is out of this race. Because, what is that? 32 cars are remaining on the track. It's Monaco with the run to the inside of the 4. They'll be side by side going through the S's. Monaco goes wide. Can he keep it? Orman right on his heels, but Monaco will take the race lead away. And now, 32 cars remaining on track. So the 78, the 49, the 36, the 59, and the 56. I'm only counting 2 cars out for GT Daytona, so that's going to put that 26 car 19th on the pylon. The way that things are scored right now. Because she is 2 laps down. I believe, so she did come down the pit lane. That is why she is so slow. And she's got to hope and pray that more of these Daytona cars have issues, because the way that things stand right now, she is going to be way out of here in GTD. As Monaco and Orman back on it once again, they've caught up to the GT Daytona points leader. How do they get around her is the $1 million question. She goes wide through the corner. Monaco to the inside. Can he make it stick going through 9? Orman back with it. To the inside goes the 2. The 4 will follow suit. Washing up the track just a little bit was Orman. He's able to make it stick. Felipe Santos might be stuck behind this 26 car. Orman to the inside of Monaco. Doesn't have a ledge. And Monaco will be out front here in this 2 car. Next on the chopping block is Micah Knapp, followed by a lot of this GT Daytona field. And let's go over the points for GT Daytona right now. 11th is sitting the 8 car. So 11th would be Jaden Russell. First is Eric Monaco. So that'd be 50 points versus 105. And Monaco came in 69 points. So Monaco, Russell, if he is able to stay in this race, and he is thanking his lucky stars that he did get caught up in an accident before the big one on lap 6. If Russell just stays where he is, and Monaco because Monaco is out front, well, he was, and now Nathan Orman has taken the race lead away from Monaco. But Monaco's still going to get 100 points. Oh, Orman gets run to the back into by Felipe Santos, and that's not going to be what you want. That might make Monaco the dominant car of the day, as he's going to set sail away from this 4 and 64. So Monaco, the way the things stand right now, he'd get 110 points compared to the 55 that Russell would get for sitting in 11th right now. So if we do some quick math, Monaco will go back out to the race lead. So that's a 55-point swing. Russell would still have the race lead. Palmer right now, who's sitting in 4th. So Russell would still have the points lead, but it's going to be about 14 points, the way the things stand right now. But Eric Monaco very well could lead the most laps here today. He's out front. He's got the track position. Pretty much nobody out behind him, as Nathan Orman's got rear end damage. The way the things stand right now, and that is a very big if, because we're only 19 laps into this 90-lap race. We still got 2 sets of pit stops. That could shake things up. But I believe the drivers that are still going to be in contention for this championship, because Riley Sampson's out. He's not going to be a mathematical. He's not going to be in fight for second place behind Monaco. I think it's going to realistically be a three-way dogfight between Russell, Monaco, and Palmer going into Riverside. But again, a lot can change over the course of this race. But the farthest that the 8 car can fall down to so the lowest that he can fall down to is 14th. So let's say that the 8 falls down to 14th, as we got a big wad of cars up in here. Let's check in GT Daytona real quick. Michael Brown in his own zip code. So I don't think Russell could theoretically wreck out of this race and still be within striking distance. He would lose the points lead. But worst case scenario for Jaden Russell, he finishes 14th. That's 35 points. Compared to, let's say, 115 that Monaco would pick up if he leads the most laps. Which, the way the things are running right now, he's got to get around this 56. 3 wide underneath. Here comes Santos to the inside of Ormond. I'd say let's let this race play out a little bit more before we start thinking about Riverside, because we got the rest of this race to attend to as Blake Bavillier goes wide in the 11. That's right in front of the GT Le Mans leaders. Bavillier is able to get back up and going. I'd say we are going to have 2 really, really close title fights as Nathan Ormond goes to the race lead past Monaco. We are going to have 2 really close title fights going into Riverside the way that things stand right now. Of course, Eric Monaco could still very well wreck out. These top 3 drivers fighting for the race lead every single lap, as we're about 10 laps away from the opening set of pit stops. Palmer's just running his race. He's just looking for a good top 5 run. Monaco is shooting for the win in this 2 car. If he gets the win and things stay the same for Jaden Russell, it's realistically just going to be a fight between Russell, Monaco, and Palmer. Because Fitzwater is going to be a non-factor. He's going to be about... Where did Fitzwater end up retiring? Fitzwater ends up finishing 19th. And he's probably going to be about, we'll call it 80 points behind Jaden Russell, the way that things remain right now. So realistically, it's going to be a 3-way fight. Mathematically, it'll be a 4-way fight. It's Nagora and Stewart will make up the back end of the podium for GT Daytona. Michael Brown out front in the 25. Daytona is where things are going to get interesting as well, points-wise, as Santos just cannot get around Nathan Ormond. Bavillier goes off track. Oh my goodness. That nearly was the end of Eric Monaco's day and nearly the end of Eric Monaco's title fight. And again, that's why I'm saying for GT Le Mans, figure out the point stuff after the checkered flag. Because Eric Monaco could still get taken out by a Daytona car. You never know. With these races, you never know how they're going to end up. We didn't know that pretty much half of the GT Le Mans field was going to be taken out by lap 6. You just never know these things. But for Blake Bavillier, he's put a lap down. Bavillier was 45 behind the 26 coming into this race. Again, for GT Daytona, I'm guessing Michael Brown is going to have the points lead the way the things stand right now. Michael Brown would have the points lead with his 2nd win of the season. John Stewart would be 2nd by only, we'll call it 9 points. Because right now I believe that 25 is going to lead the most laps the way that things are running right now. Dylan Matthews, I don't know how far back should be. She might fall out of I don't want to say she's fallen out of mathematical contention. So Nathan Stapleton will hit the pit lane in the 7 car. Don't see any damage. Remember, he did hit the wall, so I'm thinking maybe these guys trying to play a little bit of an undercut here. As Crown Jr. and Reggie Fogelman will come down. This is on lap 26. Bold strategy by these guys. I don't know if I would let that play out because we're on lap 26. The most that these guys can do is about 35 laps. It's indeed going to be a 4-tire stop for Nathan Stapleton. We'll see what it is off the jack. He's going to repair a little bit of damage. Same for this 33 and 06. The pit stops starting to come to fruition in GT Le Mans. But Eric Monaco way out front here in GTLM. Nathan Orman falling back a little bit. You see the rear end damage on that 4 car, and once he comes down the pit lane, he's probably going to fall back to about 5th or 6th. Felipe Santos is going to be the next car in line to try to get around Eric Monaco, but Monaco's been a little finicky getting around this 43 of Alex Lozano. Trying to move to the inside, and I think he's going to have Lozano right here. Lozano's going to have the inside lane for a brief moment, but going through 10 and 11, yeah, this is where that 2 machine is going to have the preferred line, and through the corner goes Monaco. Nice and easy for car number 2, right now running position number 1. As Jaden Russell has hit the pit lane in the 8, and I believe that a lot of these GT Le Mans drivers that are short pitting, I think they're thinking just come down the pit lane now, repair the damage, just try to get it back out there as quickly as you can. As Lozano goes wide, he'll surrender the positions to both the 64 and the 4, who have been pretty much on top of one another for about the last 25 laps. Dano Georgi next in line to be lapped. Same with Connor Monaco. Bradley Ream down the pit lane in the 40. Jaden Russell comes out. Russell with a 30-second pit stop, being able to repair the damage. And Nathan Orman will come down the pit lane, so here we go. So we thought these guys could do about, well, they can do about 35 laps. Everybody electing to come down early in the first driver of the leaders to hit the pit lane, the 4 of Nathan Orman, and he knows that he's got a long way to go on the pit lane. Got about a 30-second stop ahead of him, so twice the length as, oh, you could hear that 64 getting really light going through turn 5. We'll see who else elects to come down the pit lane. 56 of Micah Knapp, the 3 of Blaze Zebratar. We saw he got caught up in an incident in that 3 machine. Alex Lozano will come down. We'll wait to see where Seb Palmer comes down. Bavillier is down. Same thing with Buchanan. And the thing that I'm noticing, all these drivers hitting the pit lane now have all got damage. They're all just trying to get to the end here. We're about a third of the way through the Spam Grand Prix of Schuylkill. And right on the rear end of Dano Georgi is Eric Monaco. He's going to go wide through the corner. Losing all his momentum was the 2. Orman will go a lap down into the 4, but he's got that rear end fixed up. And we'll see how much time he's able to gain over the rest of the GTLM field. Sebastian Palmer has caught up to the GTLM leaders. I believe Felipe Santos is not going to hit the pit lane. Neither is Sebastian Palmer, and we'll see what the difference is between the 4 and the 2 leaders. But right now, a third of the way mark through the Spam Grand Prix of Schuylkill this afternoon. And approaching the first set of pit stops here today in a 90-lap race. Eric Monaco's got the lead right now. So check back in with GT Daytona. Tatiana Nagora and Michael Brown has hit the pit lane in GTD. Nagora is in. And I believe Michael Brown is going to remain the leader. No, I believe Dustin Davis, or rather John Stewart, will beat the 25 off of the pit lane. So here we go, lap 31. The non-damaged drivers will come down into the pits. 4 tires going all the way around to that CarQuest number 25 machine. He is off and away off the jack. 15:28, 15:25, 15.8 second pit stop. How about that for Juan Rodriguez? That the GT Le Mans leaders will hit the pit lane. And everybody coming down for GTLM. Monaco will lead these drivers down. We'll see where the 98 will come out. Right now, 15:06, Brooke Paquette. I tell you, Paquette's pit crew has been on fire so far this season. 15:06 is going to be the time to beat so far. 14:33, a blazing fast pit stop for Eric Monaco. He is out and away in the 2 machine. We're seeing where Nathan Orman will come in as the rest of the GT Daytona leaders will hit the pit lane, and Orman lost a lot of time on the pit lane. Remember, he's going to be about 15 seconds behind these GT Le Mans cars. After coming in early for his pit stop, Jaden Russell coming out. Remember, Russell is a lap down. Let's see how this shakes out, as Dustin Davis is going to get a lap led in GT Daytona. John Stewart is out of the pit lane. We'll see what his outlap is. In is Dustin Davis in the 72. And we'll see how this all cycles out. And remaining in the race lead will be the 2. So tail end of the lead lap is going to be Jaden Russell, I believe. He is going to be right on the tail. We got to be careful with these Daytona cars merging out. This is going to be another thing that these drivers got to be careful about all afternoon long, is merging out of the pit lane. John Stewart is out in the 98. See where this 72 car is, just now coming off the pit lane. Michael Brown is going to easily beat the 72 car out, so Brown will go back to the race lead for GT Daytona. By the looks of it, let's see if Griffin Lynn is able to beat out this 72 car off of the pits. It's going to be close. Trying to warm up those cold tires. Is the 72, washes up right in front of the 33, as Lynn is going to go onto the grass. And out of the way, Matt Lagacy also getting loose at a 2. Dustin Davis will move up to 3rd in GT Daytona. Gets a couple of laps led. 5 bonus points for him. Can't take those away. Brown back out front for GT Daytona, but for GT Le Mans, a lot of lap traffic in front of Eric Monaco. His younger brother Connor up on the outside, now to the inside. Jaden Russell also in front of Monaco. Russell knows what Monaco is doing points-wise, and he knows that Monaco has got a faster car, and he'll let that 2 machine to the inside. Connor looking to pick off this damaged 8 machine as well. All happening way behind Felipe Santos as John Stewart will fall all the way back in the 98 car. He did not have a good pit stop. Stewart having to stay on the pit lane for quite a while as contact, and around he goes. Felipe Santos and John Stewart around through the S's. And lemon salt in the wound as, oh boy, that nearly got dangerous. That's pretty much just lava in the wound for John Stewart as he collides with a 64 who gets into Nathan Orman. Those two somehow keep it straight. And for John Stewart, who was running fourth for the majority of this race, did not have a good pit stop. And that'll be the end of the competitive day for the 98 car. Came into this race 30 points behind Dylan Matthews, and Michael Brown might run away with this championship battle. As Eric Monaco getting close with Josh Harmon, he is off. And now, Sebastian Palmer will gain 2 positions with all the chaos. That'll be 10 additional points for Palmer, and now this points battle is going to be between Sebastian Palmer and Eric Monaco. This championship battle, rather. Felipe Santos into the pits. That'll be another position that Jaden Russell picks up. Oh my goodness, what a race we've had here so far today. So you see all the tire tracks in the corners. John Stewart remaining on the racetrack for now. Currently running deep in this field. 18th is Dylan Matthews. 13th for John Stewart. Not great, but not terrible. Not great whatsoever, actually, as the man who is just trying to vie for this championship run. Gonna fall really behind Michael Brown the way that things stand for Brown right now. Lagacy with an issue in the 60. Got caught up with the 66 of Brad Stover by the looks of it. Palmer now trying to catch up to Eric Monaco as we approach the midway point in today's race. Monaco in his own zip code trying to catch up to the 66. Wide through the corner goes Brooke Paquette. All these cars going wide. Gun into the inside is Sebastian Palmer. Side by side through the S is Harmon. Slides in just behind the 20 machine. And now having trouble getting around the 66 is the 2. Really, really good adjustments on that pit stop for Sebastian Palmer. He has been reeling in Eric Monaco through this entire run. Monaco has gotten around Stover. Russell will come under fire. Third place car, Skylar Taylor, just looking for a good run here this afternoon. Daniel Bouchard next up on the chopping block for Monaco. He moves to the inside. Bouchard trying not to overdrive the corner. It's going to be crowded going into 5. Monaco up the track, into the grass. And he'll let Bouchard by. Still off goes Monaco. Ooh, nearly tagged by the 66 as Stover looks to the inside of the 2. And running on rails right now is Palmer in that 20. Coming as well is Skylar Taylor. Monaco just trying to tiptoe his way through the lap cars. He knows what's at stake. Right on the back end of Daniel Bouchard as we begin lap number 40, 6 laps away from the midway point. And marred deep in lap traffic are the GT Le Mans leaders. Wide through the corner goes Monaco. He's off. Into the wall goes the 2. Palmer will get by. Eric Monaco not immune from mistakes as the GMAC Corvette goes off course, and Sebastian Palmer will go to the race lead in the 20. Way off course goes Jaden Russell. Looking to make it 3 wide was Taylor. Nearly right on the quarter panel of the 88 of Harmon as these drivers starting to really slide around through these corners. Palmer not out of the woods yet as Dylan Matthews down the pit lane on lap 40. She will fall down yet another lap. Now Palmer has passed the majority of lap traffic. Oh, we got a lot of cars in front of Palmer, actually. Now that there's no lap traffic in front of Monaco, I think Monaco was just trying to play it way too carefully and then just really just overthought the corner and proceeded to overdrive the corner in turn 2. Into turn 4, rather. And yeah, going through 3 and into 4, Monaco really just kind of overthinking things just a little bit. A little bit of a mental error. Bradley Ream will go off track as well. This is right in front of Michael Brown. Brown's got to be careful approaching that 40 machine. Right on the back end. Ream is able to back it down. And a lot of lap traffic in front of this 20 machine as we approach the midway point in today's contest. And oh boy, this has certainly been one of the races of all time. As we approach the midway point in today's race, we'll go downstairs and get us a full field rundown. Let's go through the field, presented by Twisted Tea. Sebastian Palmer leads the way in car number 20 for GT Le Mans. Second is Eric Monaco. Third is Skylar Taylor. Fourth is Nathan Ormond. Fifth is Nathan Stapleton. Sixth is Blaise Zebratar. And seventh, I believe, is Felipe Santos. That's how many competitive cars we have for GT Le Mans. If you're just tuning in, I'm not kidding when I say we only have 7 competitive cars for GTLM. Santos is back out on the track as we go up for GT Daytona. Trying to find Michael Brown. There's Brown in the 25. He's got a gaggle of damaged cars in front of him. Second is Tatiana Nagora. Third, Griffin Lynn. Fourth, Juan Rodriguez. Fifth, Dustin Davis. Sixth is Brooke Paquette, and that is all that's on the lead lap, as Brad Stover is 7th. 8th, Josh Harmon. 9th, Daniel Bouchard. 10th, Connor Monaco. 11th, Logan Alexander. 12th, Igor Barreto. 13th, John Stewart. 14th, Alex Lozano. 15th, Micah Knapp. 16th, Blake Pavillier. 17th, Nathan Buchanan. 18th, Matt Lagacy. 19th, Dylan Matthews. And that is the field for GT Daytona. And that concludes our through the field here on lap number 44 of today's race. Brooke Paquette will follow lap down in the 31 machine, fighting for the last podium spot in GT Daytona. Lynn to the inside of Rodriguez. Rodriguez not want to give up that spot, and that's right in front of the GT Le Mans leader as Dustin Davis is off track. He'll plow right in the Armco in turn 11, and giving up 2 spots there is Davis. Russell will get past. Same thing with the 45 of Skylar Taylor. Another mistake out of Dustin Davis. I believe the championship point, the points picture is getting to a lot of these drivers, as Davis is going to fall behind in the 72. Palmer still in the heavy lap traffic as Eric Monaco, falling behind by about 3 seconds. See Monaco back in there in the 2 machine, trying to get around this 20. The 20 tries to get around this 1. Griffin Lynn not holding anything up just yet. Lynn will have the inside going through 1, but going into 2, that's where Palmer is going to be. He didn't even need turn number 2. He gets around the 1 into turn 1. Lagacy is off track in the 60. Brown remaining in his own zip code at the moment right now. I don't think Brown is really worrying about anything. He has got the most laps led bonus locked up. But still 1 set of pit stops remains for all of these drivers. Sliding to the corner was Palmer as he'll get around Juan Rodriguez through 10 and 11. Ooh, a little wide going the 20. He's able to keep things ramrod straight as we're officially at the halfway point in today's race. Only 7 competitive cars remain for GT Le Mans. Bradley Ream at the tail end of this field. Dylan Matthews might go down another lap. She slides to the corner, nearly taking out the 33. And this is just going to make Riverside really, really, really interesting. It's off track once again is Eric Monaco. He's able to gather it back up and going. Palmer has gotten around Lagasse. Now Lagasse, Lynn, and Rodriguez. The 3 cars separating the 2 from the 20. Lynn goes down low underneath Lagasse. Monaco looking to split those 2 cars. He'll tuck in behind the 1. Able to get around 1 car is the 2. Now catching up to the second place driver, Tatiana Nagora goes off track in the 2. That'll open things up for the 20. Third place goes to Juan Rodriguez. Never mind, as what a push there from Monaco. Shoots Griffin Lynn to third place in GT Daytona. Incredible push there from that 2 machine, as Palmer will get around Nagora. As you see the amount of cars between Nagora and Brown. Buchanan in front of Brown started on pole in this race. Tale of 2 front row starters for GT Daytona. Oh boy, Fogelman off track, doing some agricultural work in the 06. Right back in front. Dylan Matthews not able to get past Fogelman, as she's about to be put down for a 4th lap here this afternoon. But again, these guys came down around lap 28 to 30. So in about 10 laps, we'll expect a lot of these guys to come down. Those guys that came down to lap 28, they were damaged. They were able to get repaired just the damage just a little bit, but they're gonna be really close on fuel. But they can do 35. I mean, if they're able to stretch it to lap 60, they should be about 4 to 5 laps to the goods, so that shouldn't be too big of an issue. But first 10 laps of this race have ultimately decided a lot of things today, but still a pit stop remains for these drivers. See everybody starting to slip slide all the way around. Eric Monaco beginning to lose touch with Sebastian Palmer, but a long line of lap down cars in front for Seb Palmer right now, starting with the lady who has held the points lead for GT Daytona so much this season. Dylan Matthews will be put down for a 4th lap this afternoon. Really, really tough day for Matthews, as she'll do some agricultural work herself. Tatiana Nagora going wide. Monaco will cut to the inside of the 22. That'll set things up for the 1. To try to break things home, and you see all the lap down and damaged cars in front of this 20. Reggie Fogelman starting things off, and then Michael Brown, the Daytona leader, who's trying to get around lap down cars himself. Both leaders trying to make their way around these drivers here on lap 51. Palmer, a little bit of room between himself and Fogelman. He's got a 4-second gap between himself and Monaco. We'll see if that gap widens just a little bit. No, it shrinks to about 3 seconds. Fogelman right in the gun sights of Palmer. Fogelman trying to go wide. Palmer going to make it too wide, going through the S's. Somebody going around, and it's a 26 and the 2. Eric Monaco, the dominant driver of the day, going around in the S's. After contact with Dylan Matthews. The terrible, horrible, no good, very bad race for Dylan Matthews. And it continues to get even worse, and Monaco, who was dominating this race, will fall all the way back. Good news for him, Jaden Russell is a lap down, but Russell, knowing that Monaco is not going to get as many points as he would like to today, and Seb Palmer is not nearly out of the woods yet. Skylar Taylor right now trying to get things going, sliding up is Nap 3 wide, going through the S's. Palmer's got to be very careful going through the set of corners, and he's able to get around 3 lap down cars in the span of 4 corners. And that is championship material right there for Sebastian Palmer. We know Christmas is about a month away, but a nice little gift for Palmer. With Monaco being taken out of contention, Skylar Taylor will go up to 2nd. And still back in 3rd is that 2 machine. Again, that is how crazy this race has been. When you only lose 2 positions on the track. Not even 2 positions. He lost 1 position. Was the 2 of Monaco. With Nathan Orman being 21 seconds back. Right now, Skylar Taylor and Sebastian Palmer are the 2 GT Daytona cars that have not, or GT Le Mans cars, excuse me, that have not had a single issue just yet. I tell you, this has just been a race of attrition. We knew that the S's were going to be the trouble spot. We didn't know that it was just going to be this insane. As Skylar Taylor is just now catching up to the lap down cars. Nagora reeling in Michael Brown just a tad. We're 5 laps away from the initial set of pit stops now. Taylor within 7 seconds of Sebastian Palmer. Palmer trying to get around this 33 of Roberto Crown Jr. Crown Jr. takes the inside lane away, washes up just a little bit. That's all Palmer is going to want to need, but he's still 4 car lengths behind this NOS Toyota. Fogelman has been able to get around the lap down cars as well, as Taylor will start trying to pick off Tatiana Nagora. Down comes the 62. The 64, rather. Palmer in the 20 will get around the 33, lap 56 of 90. And this is the point where we see a lot of drivers that came down at lap 28. This is where they're going to be able to get into is trouble for Logan Alexander. He is slow on the track. Not sure if it's a mechanical issue on that 71, but these GT Le Mans drivers, these leaders rather, are going to be coming right through there as Nagora will fall behind Nathan Buchanan. Buchanan's actually 27th. Nagora is 11th. So these guys nearly running over that 71 machine. Taylor able to get around both the 56, the 99, and the 22. As Palmer just has not been able to get around this 33. Now he might have a shot. No, just not able to cut to the inside just yet. Crown Jr. breaking the draft going into 1. Might have him here. Really close between these 2 drivers. 2 drivers that have been excellent so far this season. Crown Jr., your last winner over in Bridgehampton. And Sebastian Palmer trying to get the job done here today to be the first ever multi-time winner in GT Le Mans. Last race. Alexander is going to stall right at the entrance of pit lane. And same thing for Reggie Fogelman. And Michael Brown's got to put on the brakes as the entrance is clogged up with drivers. Everybody putting on the brakes as Nagora catching right back up to the tail end of that 25. That was nearly a disaster for Michael Brown. So Nagora is going to get a lot of track position. I'm just surprised it just didn't go to the left of him. Oh, what a race this has been. But here we go. The GT Daytona leaders are down. Same thing with Dustin Davis. Following with Michael Brown in the 25 car. 15:08 second stop for the 26. Dylan Matthews. That might be the fastest pits time of the day. An extended stop on the 25, just trying to pack as much octane racing fuel as possible. Here comes the 33 down into the pits. These guys are still on the pit lane. I don't know. Nagora is out. Brown just now coming out as well. Again, these drivers just trying to put as much fuel into their race takes as they can. We're about 40 laps away from the end of this race. They got to do a lot of stretching. Here on lap number 60, Nathan Stapleton is down. Dustin Davis will come out. We'll see where these Le Mans drivers will come down onto the pit lane. Palmer staying out. Same thing with the 45. I think Palmer is just trying to get to lap 65 before he comes down the pit lane. But for these GT Daytona guys, this is going to be really, really close. Lynn will get a lap led for GT Daytona. Eric Monaco down the pit lane. Brad Stover is in. Russell coming out. We'll see how long Griffin Lynn elects to stay out, and I'm liking the strategy from that one car. Staying out as long as you can. I think Lynn might be trying to get to lap 65 as well. I don't think he's going to want to chance it. I really don't think he's going to want to chance it. Palmer will stay out once again. Oh, and Lynn, well, there goes the strategy as Griffin Lynn makes contact with Micah Knapp, and around goes the one machine. So now Juan Rodriguez will say thank you very much, as Griffin Lynn will be knocked out of contention. He's only going to fall down to second on the pylon right now. We'll see where Igor Barreto is. There's Barreto. He is electing to stay out as well. First car that came in is Brad Stover, I believe. I think Stover, Josh Harmon. I don't know where Josh Harmon is right now. It's saying Harmon is running in fourth for GT Daytona. Igor Barreto into Blaze Zebratar, and nearly disaster for the 14 and the 3. Remember, Barreto came into this race 65 points behind Dylan Matthews. He needs every point possible, especially if John Stewart and Michael Brown are going to run away with this race. Harmon is down the pit lane on lap 62, and Skylar Taylor will finally surrender second away in the 45. I think Palmer is just trying to get to 65. Get to 65, you're officially able to get there as Griffin Lynn will trundle down the pit lane very, very slowly. And I think the motor is completely shot for Lynn. Tough break for the one machine. The first ever winner of the Daytona 2.4. Back in here, and Palmer is down into the pits. Here we go. Lap 63. Palmer couldn't make it. But he is down into the pit area in the 20. We'll see who will come around. I believe Nathan Stapleton. Now, Stapleton is a lap down. Gotta see where this 45 car comes out. As for the lead in GT Daytona for GT Le Mans, Skylar Taylor. Connor Monaco with a lot of front end damage. I don't see Skylar Taylor. There she is in the 45. Here's a 20, 14.22, 8-second stop. Taylor is going to be right behind him. But in here for GT Daytona, where'd Michael Brown go? Michael Brown has gotten past. Here comes Tatiana Nagora. Nagora took the lead. Barretto came into the pits. Barretto just now coming out of the pit lane. We'll see where Nagora will come out. Barretto might actually get this race lead here. I think Barretto is going to end up being the leader. Nagora trying to get around Logan Alexander, who I'm surprised is still in this race. I don't know where the 75 is. Oh boy, this has been... what a race this has been so far. As Connor Monaco and Dano Georgi getting together, you'll see the replay of that incident on your screen. The way that things stand right now. So we do know that Seb Palmer is still out front. He's got a 6-second lead over the 45. Nathan Orman is somehow still in third. Griffin Lynn was able to make repairs to the one machine. He is able to get back out, albeit he will probably be about 2 laps down. Monaco is going to fall back in that 2 car to 4th. Barretto has gone off course in the 14. It's showing that the 75, Juan Rodriguez, is in fact the race leader. And now is lap 65. Actually, what am I talking about? 65 is not the magic number. 55 was. Okay, so everybody should be able to make the... okay, so everybody should be able to make it on fuel. So this is indeed a race to the end. But, oh boy, Nagora and Brown, them being held up right to the entrance of pit lane, that is likely going to cost them. As Juan Rodriguez in his own zip code right now. Rodriguez may have pulled the wool over everybody's eyes and ran away with this one. I don't know why I couldn't do math, because 65 plus 25 is 90. I was thinking 100 for some reason. I'm thinking of next month's race. Paquette will go off course in the 31. Right now, fastest lap belonging. Owen Miles, of all people, has the fastest lap. He's in the garage area. And Brad Stover with the fastest lap for GT Daytona. Stover right now running in 4th. But trying to find the distance. There is Barretto, and there is the 75. And Sebastian Palmer. The big lead over these drivers as Logan Alexander back down onto the pit area. Palmer with a 9-second lead over Skylar Taylor. Taylor's been having to get around lap traffic, and that's been costing her oodles of time. Closing in on 20 laps to go in this race. Palmer with a 8.5-second lead. Goes off course. Little agricultural work for the 20. Never hurt anybody. Legacy will go off course as well. Skylar Taylor will follow suit as these tires just trying to find as much grip as they can. Everybody that pitted on lap 55 or more is going to be good to the go. Tough break for Griffin Lynn, seeing how far back Lynn fell very deep in the field for GT Daytona. Barretto off course as well, as he is sliding significantly back. But the good news for Barretto, if I'm Barretto, just punch the brakes going into the corner and let all these Le Mans drivers by. Because Michael Brown and Tatiana Nagora, those two continue to fight side by side. Brown is going to fall back to 6th after that incident with Logan Alexander. And Barretto is 2nd. Barretto, the way the things stand right now, if he does not have an issue, if he does not race these Le Mans drivers like he is doing right now, Barretto is going to have an opportunity to try to win this championship next month if he does not pull a Robbie Gordon. Right now, Barretto is pulling a Robbie Gordon, and now he is going to go off course and just let the 06 pass. No, he's going to race him. Igor, what are you doing, buddy? Fogelman will get past in the 6. Russell still trailing behind the 14. I don't know why the 14 is just trying to race everybody. Blake Bavillier is into the pit area. Lagasse off course once again. But now that things have shaken out a little bit, Taylor's still about 8 seconds in front as Palmer will get through lap traffic. Now is going to be the time of the races where we can finally figure a lot of this stuff out. So Sebastian Palmer, I don't know if he has officially led the most laps yet. I believe he has. So let's say let's just say for the sake of this race that Seb Palmer has indeed led the most laps. So that would give Palmer 115 points going into Riverside. So 115. So Palmer right now, the way things stand, would have 730 points going into the season finale. Trying to get a piece of paper here in the studio and a pen. So Palmer would have 730 points as Nagora will go ahead of Michael Brown. Michelle Gavinu trying to split the duck is right in front of Sebastian Palmer, so this could go all out the window if Palmer wrecks out. But Palmer right now would have 730 points. Fitzwater, who came in with 635, he's only going to get 10 points, so 645 for Fitzwater. Yeah, Fitzwater is going to be behind by 90, so he's going to be mathematically able, but realistically a non-factor. Falling back to 4th was Monaco. But Monaco did lead a lap, so that's 90 points. So 90 points from Monaco plus... that would give Monaco 711 points as Nagora goes wide. This is right in front of Brown, and around goes Palmer, up into the air, pirouetting hard, is the GT Le Mans leader. And the sound that you just heard, if you could hear it, was me throwing the pen and paper out in my room as I knew it was too early to start figuring everything out as Skylar Taylor goes to the race lead in GT Le Mans, a 20-second lead over Nathan Ormond. Eric Monaco right now being told that the 20 car has just crashed. We'll take another look at it as Sebastian Palmer, the dominant car of the day, will end up in the garage area And on a wrecker, Nagora and Santos will head down onto the pit lane, and just less than 20 laps to the end, Palmer's day will end in a horrifying crash in the S's. Well, now we got a little bit of time to figure everything out. So it's not going to be 730 points for Palmer. It is likely going to be maybe 700. But that'll flip things right back into the position of this man right here. Eric Monaco will go to the points lead the way the things stand right now. Right now, the way the things stand. Actually, he'll get 716 points. So 716 points for Monaco. Dustin Davis is off track. And for Skylar Taylor, she's not out of the woods yet. Tatiana Nagora, retiring after that accident, joins the plethora of drivers in the garage area. Palmer just trying to get repairs, but they are not going to be able to repair that 20 car. He is donezo. And will likely finish this race in the 31st position. Heartbreak for Palmer. Nothing he could really just do right there. And Skylar Taylor might fall the same fate. Logan Alexander going wide through the corner. Oh boy, that A&W Jaguar just barely going off. But Skylar Taylor, who won the Mission Barbecue Cup Series race at Bridgehampton earlier this season, looking for her second road course win of the year. And this time by will be 15 laps away from the finish, but she has got a lot of lap traffic in front of her in the 45. Now officially out of the race is the 20, and he will likely finish in 30th in this race. Such a heartbreak from Sebastian Palmer. 30th on the pylon. Good news for Palmer. Not a whole lot of competitive GT Le Mans cars were remaining in this race. For Michael Brown, it's all gone wrong for him as Igor Barreto, and trying to see where John Stewart is at. Oh boy. So Igor Barreto still in second in the 14. There is the 75, who is just passed by the man who's likely going to be the points leader going into Riverside. Nathan Ormond. Honestly, a lot of these, Samson, Zibritar, Miles, Sato, and Rose, the drivers who we thought were going to be mathematically able to be, but realistically not. They'll be knocked out. Zachary Fitzwater is done. It's still going to be a three-way battle. But Monaco is okay, so for GT Le Mans, let's figure this out with less than 15 laps to go. Monaco with 716 points. Jaden Russell, and that picks up another position for Russell. Seeing where Russell will end up, he is going to be in 8th right now. After all of that, Jaden Russell will still end up finishing in 8th, the way the things stand right now. I think Russell might actually still have the points lead. He will. 755 points for Jaden Russell. So getting caught up in like a lap 2 accident is going to play in favor of Russell, as he is actually going to have a pretty decent points lead over Eric Monaco going into the next race. It's not going to be a big one, but it's still going to be a decently sized points lead. And finishing 13th is going to be the 20 car of Sebastian Palmer. He's going to lose out on about 60 points. And with 655 points, this might be just a two-way fight. That is a 60-point swing between the 730 points that we thought Palmer was going to get, crashing out, finishing 13th in GT Le Mans, and he's going to be 90 points. Actually, he's going to be exactly 100 points behind that 8 machine. This is going to be Jaden Russell's championship to lose. It's going to come down between Russell and Monaco. Again, the way that things stand right now, it is going to be, this championship is realistically going to be between Russell and Monaco, because everybody else, Skylar Taylor's 149 back. He's not really going to do anything. For shots and goggles, we'll see. Skylar Taylor, she'll get 110 points. That's going to be 651. She's realistically still going to be in the top 5 in points. It's going to be Russell and Monaco running away with this and being in contention. And then GT Daytona. That is a whole different kettle of fish here as we come around to 10 laps to go this time by. Been doing nothing but trying to figure this out. Skylar Taylor right now in that 45 car. Looking to go the distance. We'll get all 10 digits displayed from the flag stand. 10 laps to go at Autumn Hill. And Nathan Orman is kicking himself that he has just had a really bad stretch of the last couple races. So now that he is essentially out of championship contention, finally has a top 5 run, finally has a podium run in the 4 car, with the way that things are right now. Dustin Davis about to be lapped by the 75. And GT Daytona is where things are going to get interesting. I can't tell it right at the top of the pylon, so we're going to figure it out at the end of this race. But coming around to 9 laps to go for Skylar Taylor. Can she hold on? She's gotten around the majority of lap traffic. And I think the only lap down car she's going to have to deal with is going to be Josh Harmon in about 5 or so laps. But for Skylar Taylor, started this race in 10th. She's still got about 20 miles of racing to go. But I know what she's thankful for. I know definitely what Skylar Taylor is thankful for right now is a clean A&W Jaguar XKR and trying to keep that Jaguar XKR clean for the rest of this race. She's going to catch up to Harmon probably in the back stretch next time by, or the S's. I think she's going to catch him up in the S's. She might catch up to Ream. She'll definitely catch up to the 1 and potentially the 14. Buchanan off track. Trying to just ever so slightly get around this 88. Harmon trying to get by. Going off onto the rumble strips. Skylar Taylor, Harmon trying to fight for that position right back. And now the 2 machine. Fallen back, Nathan Stapleton will rise up to 3rd place. And that will be advantage Jaden Russell, but I believe Russell has also lost a position, so that'll stay the same right now for GT Le Mans. 7 to go for Skylar Taylor. I don't know if she might catch up to Buchanan and Lynn. Possibly the 12 and the 40. but she's got a 15-second lead over Nathan Orman. Realistically, she could potentially spin and still end up winning this race, albeit it would be very close. Because Orman right now, yeah, he's 16 and a half seconds away from Skylar Taylor. Taylor is already underneath the bridge, with Orman just now entering the backstretch. So he's got about a mile gap on her right now. Blaze Zebratar has stalled with a flat tire right on the front stretch, and that was nearly what Taylor needed. And an additional 5 points. Actually, no, Zebratar was already behind Jaden Russell, as Igor Beretta will let the 99 and the 60 go past. Beretta right now is just fighting for the second spot. He's just trying to keep second in check. Harmon right now is going to end up finishing in second, with the 66 of Beretta being hounded by the 64. For Skylar Taylor, into turn number 11 for the 85th time today. 5, count 'em, 5 races to go in the penultimate race of the season. And what a race that this has been. Chaos in the opening 10 laps, and chaos slowly but surely throughout this entire race here today. And all 180 miles of this contest is going to come down to between if Skylar Taylor can keep her wheels underneath her or not. I'm leaning more towards yes, but this race has been about as unpredictable as you can ask for. Monaco trying to fight back with this 7 machine, battle for third place halfway around the track, or Skylar Taylor right now with about 4.5 laps to go. Going wide is the 2, trying to get around Alex Lozano. Jaden Russell is the 6 machine. The 06 slamming hard into the wall. That'll be 5 more points for Jaden Russell as he looks to cushion his championship lead going into Riverside in 1 month. 4 to go for Skylar Taylor. Lozano now in between the 7 and the 2. This is the battle for third right now. And a lot of lap traffic in front of the 4 machine. 18 seconds the gap between Taylor and Ormond. Juan Rodriguez, meanwhile, in front of all these drivers. There's Rodriguez with nobody in front of him. Got Michael Brown a little bit. We'll see if he's able to get around Michael Brown. Rodriguez not fighting for a championship, so he's just fighting and going for the win. 3 to go. Trying to find Skylar somewhere out on this track. There she is in the 45. Ream and Lynn and Legacy. I don't know if she's going to catch up to these drivers. I'm going to say doomsday scenario, she is. But she's coming around to 2 laps to go, and unless these guys make contact with one another, I don't think that Skylar Taylor is going to catch up to these 2. I don't know, Legacy is really slow on the track, coming off of 11. Sticks high, 2 to go in the second to final race of the season. Taylor will take the penultimate lap of the race. She is going to catch up to Legacy. Ormond right now, just now entering turn 11, is going to be about a 20-second gap. Legacy is very slow. Taylor is going to catch up to Legacy. Oh, she charges through the corner way too hot. 19 seconds the difference between Taylor and Ormond. Through turn 8 for the 89th time tonight. Skylar Taylor looking for a Thanksgiving miracle. Matt Lagasse will be side by side with the 45. White flag in the air one more time around the Autumn Hill Raceway for Skylar Taylor. Taylor through turn 1 and 2 with ease. Nothing out front within a zip code of this 45. It's all what's out back for Juan Rodriguez. In the 75, he'll take the white flag as well. Jaden Russell looking to get as many positions as he can. White flag in the air for the 75. Back around on the other side. Skylar Taylor through turns 7 and 8 underneath the bridge for the final time today. It's a Thanksgiving miracle for Skylar Taylor. She'll come through turn 10 off of turn number 11. Griffin Lynn's in front of her. She doesn't care. Off for the final corner. Skylar Taylor will win at Autumn Hill. She wins for GT Le Mans. Back in here for GT Daytona. Nothing out back for the 75. Through 8 and 9 for the final time. Skylar Taylor giving chase for the faster Le Mans. Rodriguez is saying, no thank you, buddy. And off for the final corner. One last gas for the 8 machine, trying to get to the inside, not going to be in time. Juan Rodriguez for the 75 team as a winner for GT Daytona here at Autumn Hill. Exhale, as all I can say is Michael Brown goes hard into the attenuator. Second flip of the afternoon, and that was right as the checkered flag fell. I think he's thankful that that didn't happen a lap earlier. John Stewart also in that melee, but for GT Le Mans, Skylar Taylor gets the job done. Juan Rodriguez gets it for GT Daytona. Rodriguez has been close a couple of times this year, same for Skylar Taylor. But Taylor gets it done here. As we'll take a look at the official standings. Skylar Taylor, Nathan Orman, and Nathan Stapleton. 2 Nathans and a Skylar on your podium for GT Le Mans. And in GT Daytona, Juan Rodriguez, Igor Barreto, and Josh Harmon. Oh boy. This is where things get interesting. As everybody will come onto the pit lane after the fact. You'll see the replay of what happened with Brown and Stewart on your screen. But for GT Le Mans, so Eric Monaco finishes 4th in the race officially. So 85 points, 90 for leading a lap. See if we got the math right from when we did it initially. So 90 points for Monaco for a 4th place run. And then plus 621. Yes, that's 711 points in favor of Monaco. And then for Jaden Russell, who is going to end up finishing 8th after all of this, I believe he is going to have 755 points. And he indeed is. So the gap between the 2 and the 8 is going to be 44 points. That's going to be the gap for the championship going into Riverside, which is not great, but it's not terrible. Monaco's going to need to have a really strong day and hope that 8 machine runs into issues. But Palmer's going to run into stuff, and then for GT Daytona, good second place run for Igor Barreto. That is exactly what that 14 car needed after last month's mishaps at Bridgehampton. Michael Brown falling deep in the field. He's going to be 8th is Michael Brown. Not as bad as we thought it was going to be, but still, I believe I don't know. We gotta figure this all out after the fact, but taking a look at your standings and then everybody that wrecked out of this race. Sebastian Palmer, dominant driver of the day, finishes in the garage area. Mike Vincent Jr., Girasato, all of these drivers down in here at the bottom. Oy vey is all I've got to say. And what a championship race that this is going to set things up for in a month. But that'll do it here from the Autumn Hill Raceway. Congratulations once again to Skylar Taylor and Juan Rodriguez for winning the Spam Grand Prix of Schuylkill. And finally, we'll see you next month over in the Golden State for the final race of the 2024 FMGTC season, the California Christmas Classic. Coverage from the Riverside International Speedway at 2 p.m. Eastern on Christmas Day, December 25th, right here on the NASRN. Thank you again, once again, for tuning in to today's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Here are your point standings after race 11 of the FMGTC. And from Tremont, Pennsylvania, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening and a great Thanksgiving, folks.